Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in with me this evening. This is Getting Familiar, and I am Lady Stars and Fire. Now, if you've been with us on the last few shows, you know that we have been going over the different directions, the elements, and their corresponding animals. What healing that brings. What kind of messages and guidance that brings, not just momentarily in our life, but that we can carry through our life. But if we're going to do a show about the elements and the directions, well, we can't just very well go leaving out the moon, now can we? No, because the moon is all about our emotions, our feelings, our healing energies. She has much to teach us. And plus, let's just face it, if you're listening to this radio station, you got some love for the moon. We are some moon-loving people over here. For the moon helps us understand much in our life through our emotions that we, on our own, don't get. And through working with her, we set our goals and our intentions through our life. You see, the moon, just like the directions, have its seasons, so to speak, that cannot be changed. Just like north, east, south, and west, they all have their own information to teach, even though it is within a never-ending cycle. So does the moon. The moon has its very own cycles where we have our information and our learning, our guidance we receive from the moon. And its lunar cycle is not going to be changed or derailed in any way simply because we may wish to have things go a different way in our life. However, by learning to work with the moon and its lunar cycle is helpful for us in our life. The thing is, typically, we view the moon as 4 cycles, when in fact it is 8. The thing is, normally we think of the new moon, the waxing moon, the full moon, and then the waning moon. And that's typically all we choose to really view. We shortcut the moon cycles all the time. But often by shortcutting, we miss things. We ultimately aren't rounding off the edges completely properly. And this is exactly why it is important to realize there are 8 cycles within the lunar cycle, not 4. So all 8 of the cycles is the new moon, the crescent, the first quarter, gibbous, full moon, disseminating, last quarter, and balsamic. Now, before I go over them with you, there's like a poem or a phrase that I love that I want to share with you because I feel that it fits perfectly. It's by Victoria Cray and it's called The Moon. The moon symbolizes the void, the feminine darkness, and even our own deepest forest. She is everywhere, yet she remains unseen. When she is full, flashes of truth illuminate us on our path. When she has disappeared, we must carry on with our own intuitions to guide us. Fear not, the tide always turns. When the moon is weighing on you, there is a good chance you are being called to dive really, really deep into your own unconscious and into the underworld and bring back a treasure. I love that. And the reason I love that is because the moon doesn't just remind us of cycles within our life, goals, and how to accomplish them. But the moon is our emotions. It is our feelings. It is how we heal as well as move forward in our life. She is a mentor in this area. She is our yin and our yang, our masculine and our feminine. She helps us to find the treasure that is you, and then lift it out from within us so that the world can also see the treasure that is you. And that is so very important because there is only one you. There's never going to be another you in existence. Only you can be you. And only you can play the part of you best. However, sometimes we have to find what it is within us that is the treasure that is us. The moon helps us to find the treasure from within because her cycles remind us how to, over and over again, as they move through all 8 of those cycles. Now we all know that the new moon is all about setting your intentions, your goals, your dreams, and start the power, the magic of bringing them into creation, bringing them into light. But that it is still a time mostly of darkness, mostly of meditation, of soul strengthening, soul searching as to what it is you go and you're wanting to bring into light, what it is you are wanting to create and manifest into your life. It is how and when prayer and magic come together. It is the beginning of the light, coming from within the darkness. As we move into the crescent, the moon's visibility of its light looks like the shape of a croissant. It is not yet half full of light. It symbolizes to us it is building of its growth. This is the relax, sit back stage and deepen the resolve of the intention set for the cycle that has begun. This is ultimately figuring out the best way of bringing that goal, that intention, that dream. How is it that is best to bring it into light? The crescent is all about deepening the dream. Stir yourself into its magic. Allow it to teach you the direction of how to create it to be so. Listen to your heart. Allow your heart to teach to your brain the logic that it needs to make the creation come the rest of the way into light. Now, as we move from the crescent moon into the first quarter, this is often seen as the wax on, the waxing moon. The wax on is all about starting the projects, the beginning of the things that you are setting into intention, finding of that love, the channeling of that good energy, starting of the good habit. Now, this is often why it is seen that the wax on is the shortcut between the crescent and the first quarter, as well as the gibbous. But they actually are separate parts within the lunar cycle, because the first quarter is all about starting to take the action and the steps in moving forward within the destination of the intention set within the cycle of the new moon. Now I'm going to take just a second and I'm going to actually back up so I can explain better what I'm talking about. I said before, the moon is our masculine and our feminine. It is our yin and our yang. It is not one or the other. It is both. Because it is said that the new moon is yang, your masculine energy. The crescent moon is yin, your feminine energy. The first quarter is yang, your masculine energy. And the gibbous is yin, your feminine. So we are going back and forth as we are strengthening our resolve and creating the creation that we want to make so. The moon reminds us in yin that we also have to move towards the light, or the sun for yang. This is ultimately reminding us of forward movement. within her cycle. That sometimes we need to go inward and sometimes we need to go outward. We move inwardly to find out and to decide how and what it is we need and we goal for achieving in our life. What is it we need and wish to create? And then teaching us to go outwardly to actually make it so. So we see that the new moon, the setting of the intention of the cycle, is actually a masculine energy. It is action. It is setting an action or an aggressive movement to move forward. While the crescent is moving you back inwardly to figure out what it is you need, according to yin and feminine energy, as to what it is you need again to create what you want to take outwardly. You must first look inwardly to find this out. Then as we move back into the first quarter, we are back in masculine or yang energy as we actually take the action outwardly to make it so. As the moon reminds us at this time, thinking about it, wanting it, wishing it, dreaming it, does not make it so. You must actually go out and create. And then the gibbous is all about yin, again, the feminine energy, going back inwardly to refine and to improve so that we can make corrections as we make action in our moving forward. The gibbous is what happens to us right before the full moon. Our yang energy, our feminine energy is speaking to us. It's showing us what isn't exactly working right. How can I refine it? How can I correct it and make improvements? This is your soul speaking to you. This is what the moon is teaching you. When we move back inwardly into our soul, she helps us to understand emotionally how to create it. That which it is we need, we want. She starts to show us what the full moon is ultimately going to show you. So in fact, we learn that the first quarter, it is all about taking the action. It's about outwardly taking the action and setting the goal into action, making it start to happen. But once we hit the gibbous is when it is almost full, but not quite. The gibbous is refining that. It is, let me find out what improvements need to be made. And the reason you start to feel it and you start to notice it is because it is almost in full light. The gibbous is what corks all of that strange energy, that bit of showing you this just isn't working, this is wrong. This is where all of those irritations start to come in because it's almost in full light. It is still in your feminine energy, your yin energy. And this is why that emotional state becomes so important to you. Because it's teaching you what you do need and what you don't versus what is actually in your life. Because as we move into the full moon, it's all about the realizations and letting it come to you. We are back in a masculine energy. This teaches us how, again, to take action outwardly. But we wouldn't have figured it out if it didn't come to us on a feminine yin energy prior to it, so that we could work our way through our emotional situations so we could take action accordingly in a masculine way and make it happen. For we know the full moon is all about taking the change that is needed, letting go of what is not serving you, and banishing it ultimately from your life so that the forward movement can actually happen. This is that masculine energy from the moon teaching you of yang in full moon. And as we move out of the full moon, we hit the disseminating. This is where we express are new found truths. This is where the gibbous and the full moon taught us a lesson. And now in the disseminating part, we are expressing it. We are finding the truth within that so that we can make those changes. We are back again in yin energy and feminine. We are back inwardly looking at the truths. And as we move into the last cycle, we are starting to find the seeds for the very next cycle. And this is what we call the wine off. When we are in between the disseminating and the last quarter, we find ourselves in what we typically call the waning moon phase. And this is why they call it the wine off, meaning banishment, dispelling, ending of the projects, the finding of closure, breaking of our bad habits, and removal of hexes. It is all about focusing on what it is you want to disappear in your life. I want you no more here. It's really that simple. We find ourselves reevaluating this in the disseminating area of the moon cycle, as well as in part of that last quarter. Because in the last quarter, you couldn't take the action of that yang energy, the masculine energy, for planting the new seed for the next cycle if you didn't know what you needed to get rid of so you could plant that seed. Because while we are in the disseminating part of the cycle, we also find ourselves grateful for the changes that have been made. This is also allowing you in the last quarter that through that gratitude, we start to find that then the yang energy allows us to start to give back through a place of abundance. So therefore we can start to see the seeds that we may wish to plant in our next cycle. And we finish off the cycle with the balsamic as we are coming back into the dark moon. So we can re-enter the new moon and start the cycle all over again. The balsamic reminds us to return to stillness, return to our feminine, our yin side, go inward, be still, to re-enter meditation, soul searching, and prayer and magic, preparing you yet again for the new moon and setting of the new intentions and the new cycle. Now, some of the animals that stand out as symbolic to the moon are dog, bat, bear, wolf, the owl, the moth, crab, hare or rabbit, the snail, the dolphin, the toad or frog. Now I'm sure there are many, many more that also actually are symbolic to the moon. But these are the ones that typically stand out the most or are very well known for being in symbolic with the moon. But it's that time right now, so we're going to take a few minutes for our sponsors and let them do our thing. And when we get back, we'll discuss some of the animal medicine that goes with some of these animals. We'll be right back after this.
Since 2014, the Pagan Business Network has been building resources by bringing together pagan-owned and pagan-friendly businesses. With multiple resources available, it doesn't matter if you're an artisan, musician, vendor, author, publishing company, blogger, podcaster, event planner, or any other organization. We have the resources here to help you succeed. Becoming a member is easy and affordable, even for the smallest of budgets. With your membership, you will get Business Spotlight, which is an article written in an interview style, complete with details and photos. Social media sharing through the Pagan Business Network. A blog roll. A membership card for discounts at participating businesses. You'll also get discounts on tickets to all Pagan Business Network events, and so much more. You can check us out at paganbusinessnetwork.com for more information.
Hey everybody, this is Lady Stars and Fire. Come on over and visit me at our magical sanctuary, where you can get the free healing messages each week, as well as picking up your own personal readings. I do Ruin, I do Tarot, I do combinations, and there's many to choose from. You can also get your astrology, where you can get your personology and your solar returns. Shop around and see all of my personal handcrafted magical items, or see the different spiritual information that is on the site. Come again and visit us at LadyStarsandFire.com, our magical sanctuary, with me, Lady Stars and Fire. Be good to you, love, and use you wisely. Hugs and kisses in the wind, everyone. Okay, everybody, we are back. Thank you for tuning in or for sticking around. This is Getting Familiar, and I am Lady Stars and Fire. We have been discussing the moon and are about to discuss corresponding animals to the moon. We were also discussing how the moon actually has 8 cycles within it, not just 4. Because typically we often think of the cycles of the moon, the lunar cycles, being the new moon, the waxing moon, the full moon, and the waning moon. But it actually has 8. It is the new moon, the crescent, the first quarter, the gibbous, the full moon, the disseminating, last quarter, and balsamic. We also were discussing how each part of its never-ending, changing cycle is said to go from yin to yang, yin to yang, yin to yang, meaning it is going back and forth through feminine and masculine energy as we work through the cycle itself. And just like all directions and elements, the moon actually has specific animals that are symbolic to it and its meanings. And some of those animals that are most known for corresponding with the moon itself is the dog, the bat, the bear, wolf, owl, moth, crab, the hare or the rabbit, a snail, dolphin, toad, or frog. And sure, there are many, many more that are also in corresponding with the moon or symbolic to working with the moon. But these are typically some of the most known or seen or viewed animals that are corresponding with the moon. Plus, there's just not enough time to go over every one of the ones that I did mention. But we are going to go over a few, starting right now. If you change the way you look at things, the very things you look at will change. I want to talk about the toad or the frog. The toad and the frog are known as a sacred animal to the shaman, teaching us of healing and from going from one world to the other so easily. Now, some of those symbolic traits for the frog or the toad is being of luck, purity, rebirth, renewal, fertility, healing, transitions, dreaming, opportunity, and metamorphosis, as well as intermediary. Now for the Celts, the frog was deemed lord over all of the earth. And like many cultures, that it had healing powers because of its connection with the water and cleansing rains. Now in China, it is viewed as an emblem of yin energy, the feminine energy, thought also to be of good luck. And under Feng Shui practices, it is recommended to have an image of a frog in the east window of your home to encourage childbirth and happy family life. In many Western and European views, the frog's 3 stages of development symbolize resurrection of spiritual evolution, as well as for these same reasons, it is common that the Christian symbolize the Holy Trinity and the resurrection, often symbolized through Christian art. While through Egyptian or Egypt, we see the frog-headed Hecate, who is an Egyptian goddess of birth or birthing. The frog is associated with linking between the living and the dead. An interesting Asian custom was to place a jade frog in the mouth of the deceased to ensure that he or she, their spirit, would pass safely into the spirit world. The custom was believed to allow the spirit of the deceased to speak more clearly to the loved ones still in this living world. In Japan, the frog is seen as a good luck symbol, especially for travel. Images and charms are worn for long voyages to assure safety, especially across water. The Japanese word for frog, in truth, I cannot pronounce this, but its meaning is return. And this is exactly why the travelers would carry those charms with a frog on it for a safe return from their travels. Now the Hindus, they view the frog more from a cosmic level, for they believe frogs projected the world into orbit in space, and that the frog is thought to signify darkness. It is also said that some areas that the frog can help you within your life is to tell you you need to swim through tough areas and life transitions more easily. To strengthen your connection with the spirit world, as well as to ensure while you're traveling, you are working to enhance your intuition. This is because the frog is seen as it generously shares. And this is because it is surprisingly timeless as a symbol and seen as prosperity and spiritual cleansing. Cleansing is the catalyst for change that washes away the blocks of abundance that opens doors to prosperity. This is the magic of the frog. As the frog teaches us to cleanse our blocks so that we can receive prosperity, the frog is also teaching us all about transformation. And this is one of those areas where the frog is corresponding with being an animal of the moon. Just like the moon has to move through its cycles during its lunar cycle, the frog is teaching us the same kind of event, just in its own style. How to clear out, make corrections, and bring the abundance, the wishing, the goals that we desire into our life. Frog teaches us from its point of view how to do the same thing that the lunar cycle and the moon is teaching you to do when you work with the actual lunar cycle. Through this event, the frog is actually bringing us into understanding spiritual meanings, as well as blessings, and finding of true love. Because the frog power animal teaches us the art of cleansing and its power to renew the mind, the body, and the spirit. We come to understand this because we know that the frog is constantly going in and out of the water. This means that the frog is constantly cleansing itself. This is reminding of us to release our old energies and to absorb new. For many of us, a ritual cleansing can be of many different kinds, many different styles and forms. Let's face it, we're not a frog. We're not jumping in and out of ponds and going up and down on land and in and out of water. But we do cleanse ourselves of our energies in different ways, such as saging, such as ritual baths. Some of us love to go out in the rain for divine cleansing. In truth, there are many forms and many styles and many different ways that you can choose to use for your own personal cleansings of your mind, your body, your spirit, because this also includes our own diet. It's not all mental, it is physical as well as emotional. So there are different ways that we all choose to go about how we cleanse ourselves regularly. The point is to actually realize we are doing it so that it brings us into a spiritual level of growth. This also helps our evolution, our very evolutionary growth in spiritual reality for how we move forward in our own personal existence. This is how we stay in harmony with ourselves, darling, as well as the world around us. Now, I am obviously a person who is all about animals, all about the medicine we get from animals, the spiritual guidance that comes from animals. Obviously, I'm doing a show about animals and spiritual medicine. And I tell people all the time, over and over again, that when an odd animal shows up in your life, there's a reason. For some reason, whatever it is, synchronicity is bringing you that spiritual message. If you have the knowledge and the understanding of realizing when it is happening. So you can then obviously go back and find out what that message was. And then receive it and incorporate it into your life. For me, just the other day, I came upon a little frog or a tiny little toad. Now, I try to be a positive person. I try to instill positivity in those who I meet in life. I try to find the inspiration and the positivity behind every meaning and do my best to try to be a supporting figure in this. But I'm human. I have days that do not go as planned. I have days where I am irritated, frustrated, and angry. And just like everybody else in this world, I have those days I feel like I am fighting an upward mountain and everything is coming down on me and I'm never going to get to the top of that mountain. Oh, how I hate to admit it, but I have those ego-driven days. No matter how hard I'm trying to shed that ego, nope, it just keeps poking its ugly head back up at me and making me consume myself in ego. Well, this was my other day. I was frustrated, irritated all day. Everything was just like bang, bang. And as the day came to an end, we were taking a friend home, which is a long way from our home. And that's fine. I was still trying to maintain my typical self of being of service of others. So we went in to her house for a little bit because it was over an hour and a half away. And as I was getting ready to leave, there sat a little frog sitting right next to her door. Now, she does live out by the woods, so it's not too unsurprising that an animal would come out of those woods because she's pretty much in the woods. Still, as we opened up the door for me to leave, there was this little frog hopping down towards the lake. Hello, Michelle, because my real name is Michelle. I'm not always Lady Stars and Fire. Hello, Michelle. Could I have seen it any brighter? Did I need the sun to shine right on that little frog hopping towards the lake? Take myself home and cleanse myself and get myself back to right. This is in part exactly what it is I'm trying to instill in everyone about that synchronicity along with those animals that pop up into your life. I needed a cleansing. I was out of whack. I was not in harmony. I needed to go home and get myself back to right. That is exactly what the frog was telling me. It's time for a cleansing. See, they can't give you all of the information, but they can send you in the right direction. And then you have to take it upon yourself to understand that, figure out how to incorporate it in your life that works for you. Because what I needed was mental vegetation. I needed to mentally relax and let go of all the things that just was not working and find my positivity in life again. because I needed that positive release that was going to allow me to bring positivity back to me, considering all I was bringing myself at that time was negativity. I needed that positive cleansing release. Now, for me personally, that typically is a saging or ritual baths with salt and a calming meditation, finding my Om again. You see, this is why I do this show. I do this and I share my life with you, because if anything that I learn is able to possibly help you, then I am living up to my highest potential. I'm moving in that direction. I'm being helpful and I'm on my correct path. And if that can help you in any way, then yes, I'm going to share my life with you, because I wouldn't have figured that out if it wasn't for that little frog. I would have just been frustrated all day and wouldn't have been able to release it. At that moment, I needed that reminder from that frog. And that reminder wouldn't have come if I just stayed in my frustration and ignored the fact that I understand animal wisdom and the reason why that frog popped up in my life at that specific time was for that message. You see, because when we return to the animal wisdom itself of the frog, that is exactly where the transformation part of that medicine comes in. It comes into understanding after you've realized there is a need for that ritual cleansing. It starts to teach us lessons of alchemy, lessons of understanding how cleansing invokes the transformation and manifests the energies of abundance as well as prosperity, and why it is needed. That is the key there. It is not teaching you just that you need to, but why you need to. The frog totem itself is a wise teacher. His lessons can take years to learn, but the frog is also a patient teacher and will help you through all of the process. Are you awakening to the growth process? Because once you realize you are awakening, that's when the frog starts to teach you the most mystical, the most divine lessons. Because the real value is the value of what is within. And often, in too many cases, the simple fact is we live in a world that does not completely understand or embrace spiritual truths. And the simple fact comes down to the frog reminds us of our own eternal self and our eternal value that is found from within us. Because it is from within these very truths that we feel eternal and that we find our moments of peace, our moments of meditation, and indeed do touch eternity. Now, on the hand of love itself, the frog is tied to love in a very unusual way, but one that we have heard all of our life. We just don't necessarily view it maybe in the way it's meant to be viewed. We hear of Prince Charming. The frog was the prince, and you have to kiss the frog to find your prince, or for a male to find your princess. This, in truth, simply speaks to us from the fairy tale of don't judge a book by its cover. This simply says your charming, of whatever it may look average, but has a heart that could be overflowing with unending abundance for you. The question is, are you looking closely enough to see the inner beauty? Are you seeing what is hidden? Are you seeing what it is they have to offer? And have you earned the trust of them so that they can reveal it to you? Because in this way, the inner beauty will far outweigh the outer beauty. This is one of those lessons in The simple fact is, sometimes you get to know someone. You've met people. And as you get to know them more and more, their beauty becomes more attractive to you. This is because you know them both, inside and out. This is all about finding love in its truth, in the truths of what love is, not face value. Because, darling, the magic and the essence of real love is seeing the treasure that is hidden within. Okay, everyone, it's time for our sponsors again. So we're going to let them do their thing, and we'll be right back after this and start another animal.
Have you been searching for that perfect candle for your project or working? How about for a specific intent? Something other than the big box store candles made from mystery wax? Then look no further. Visit The Waxing Witch on Etsy for the best selection of handcrafted candles anywhere. Pillars, votives, shaped, plus some giftable candles you won't believe. All their candles are made in-house using a variety of waxes: soy, palm, beeswax, paraffin, and all are clearly noted in the listing, so there's no mystery wax here. From a whole line of saints candles to archangel working candles, and you have to see the new Wicked Wonderland spell candles. They're made to work wickedly quick and wonderfully easy. Or the fun new Sanderson sister pillars. Those are a hoot. And I can't forget their skull candles. These are phenomenal. The burn is beautiful, and I really won't work a trick without one. But that's not all. Any candle can be customized with a scent of your choice, or even color if you prefer something different. They love special orders and will work with you to make your candle the way you want it. They do unity candles, hand fasting candles, or candles made for events, so don't hesitate to ask. You won't find folks easier to deal with, and they all come from their little shop on a Louisiana bayou. So do yourself a favor. Check them out on Etsy at The Waxing Witch. That's The Waxing Witch, witch spelled W-Y-T-C-H. Tell them PBNR sent you for a little surprise with your order. Are you ready to have some fun? Then come and check out Raven's Shadow Crafts, home of the Poppet with a Pocket. These unique handmade poppets come ready to go, pre-stuffed with herbs and in colors designed for your intent. They also have a pocket on the back to add any herb, stone, or personal item you want to make this poppet complete. Just charge and it's ready to go. Other handmade items are gree-gree bags, goddess symbols, mini skull magnets, and more. So check them out on Facebook at Raven's Shadow Crafts. Park your broom and stay a spell. That's www.facebook.com/Ravens Shadow Crafts. We'll see you there.
Okay, everybody, and we are back. If you're just now tuning in, this is Getting Familiar, and I am Lady Stars and Fire. Now, on today's show, we have been discussing the moon and its lunar cycle, as well as what corresponding animals go with the moon. We were just discussing frog and all of its wonderful symbolisms that come from the frog totem for our frog medicine, as well as how we understand the frog actually teaches us in very similar ways to how we work with the moon, when it is that we are actually working with each part of the lunar cycle and the messages that the moon is teaching us in our life. The frog is very similar, just in the frog's own little way. But we're about to move on to our next animal. Now, in truth, the moon symbolizes our feelings, our very emotions. This leads us into our emotional waters. So obviously, just about any animal within the water, such as fish, will typically coincide with the moon. But the one that stands out the most is the dolphin. Now, some of those symbolic traits that go with the dolphin are playfulness, transcendence, gentleness, harmony, intelligence, friendship, community, resurrection, generosity, and power, as well as contentment. The dolphin is considered the king of the fish. In many ancient cultures, the dolphin is associated with kingly qualities, not the demanding kind, but observe the dolphin for any length of time. You could see that if the dolphin ruled the world, it would be gracious in its reign. And right there, that is the core meaning behind the dolphin. Grace. When we connect the moon to the dolphin, it brings about symbolisms of its hidden power, its intuition, dreams, conception, and feminine energy. But if we view it from the sun, it is active, it is life, it is vibrant, it is health, it is renewal, it is intelligence. But the key to understanding the dolphin is duality. And that has to do with the dolphin being both fish and mammal, because it is of water and air. It does live in the water, but it also does breathe air. It, much like the frog, is of two worlds at one time. It reminds us of yin and yang, both masculine and feminine. And just like the moon, in the beginning of the show, I was going over how each part of the lunar aspects, each part of the lunar cycle itself goes back and forth between yin and yang, masculine and feminine, as we move through those 8 parts. This would also be one of those corresponding energies that connect both the moon as well as the dolphin. In the Celtic animal symbolisms, the dolphin was highly honored as a creature that was a protector of sacred wells or sacred waters, as it was seen to the Celtics that the protector of the water, of the sacred waters, the watcher of the waters, the guardians of all water-associated things, was the dolphin. In ancient Greece, legend tells that the dolphins were the animal responsible for carrying the souls of the dead to the island of the blessed. Also in ancient Greece, the dolphin is also connected to the god Apollo and the goddess Aphrodite, meaning of the sun and the moon, being of both lunar and of solar symbolisms. The balance of yin and yang, feminine and masculine. The dolphin is also represented in Christian art, seen as symbolic of resurrection. It is also connected to Christ. It is also seen as a message of well-being, to be pure of heart. So in some artistic renditions, the dolphin is viewed as transporting the spirits of the faithful to Christ's side upon leaving their physical bodies. Somewhat like the idea of the Greece legend. The mystique of the dolphin spirit animal is her delightful, charming energy with a playful spirit and a flirtatious smile. She seems to invite you into the thought of adventure within your life. And yet, the dolphin seems to be a universal ambassador of peace, as it seems to delight our senses and bring healing energies to our mind, body, and spirit. One of the magical lessons that we seem to take from this spiritual animal is the advantage of communication and intuitive abilities. For the dolphin seems to take us on a mystical journey into finding out the true essence of who we are, as well as our limitless possibilities. The dolphins possess a healing energy and is transformational. It's very powerful. It brings us healing of the mind, body, and the spirit. Dolphins' healing energies come from the love of being of service to others. They seem to just exude healing energy. And to this very day, Many will travel far and wide just to spend a few moments of their precious time with such wonderful animals, the dolphin. As a totem, the dolphin is teaching us of the healing abilities to heal the wounds of spirit of others, as well as of animals. It is often recommended to use their energy tools, the crystals, sacred waters, sea salts, and even seashells, to amplify that healing energy of the dolphin that is being transmuted through you. And if you feel you are being called by the dolphin, there is a good chance that it is bringing you into a deeper dedication into your spiritual path. Look into your intuitive gifts, for it may be bringing you answers within that area. Because the power of dolphin is going to have a very, very strong but loving pull. And then again, if it is that you are desiring to connect with the dolphin, visit the beach, visit the ocean, walk barefoot in the ocean, feel the waves, surround yourself with the very beach essence, the water essence. However, one of the magical powers of the dolphin symbolism is to travel unexplored lands. This reminds us of spiritual exploration through portholes, through space and time itself. We do this through our meditation. Seek the spiritual dolphin as a travel guide and a travel companion through these dimensions and these realms. This is also a good way of asking the dolphin to help you reveal to you what it is that your gifts are. Your very own special, unique, magical abilities that are within you. For when you are willing to work with the dolphin, she will flow through you and with you, just like water, infinite and ever expanding. See, the dolphin for us is an emblem of living our true purpose, as well as living a creative life filled with joy and fulfillment. Living a life with purpose, as well as contributing to the greater good of all. The dolphin reminds us simply that this is indeed possible. But the dolphin also holds a greater intelligence, a higher communication. The dolphin lives in a realm of the deep blue seas, representing to us truth in our communication, our intuition, our psychic abilities, as well as being telepathy. But the dolphin also reminds us to be playful, to enjoy the moment. It reminds us as a spiritual messenger. This very moment you are in, this very moment, darling, will never happen again. Every moment is precious, and it guides us in helping us open up to that spiritual realm within our living precious moments. If only we are willing to be opened up to it. And that is so very true, because spirit is in everything. Everything. Because spirit is with us from the beginning to the end. It's everywhere. It's in the wind. It's the breeze. It's the smell and the taste that you have in the air. It's the animals that are in your life. It's the breath of the new day. It is the life within life that you choose to often overlook. If spirit of the dolphin appears to you, it may be time to take an assessment of your life and your connection to spirit itself. It is an invitation of development of your inner communication and skills. Simply beginning with your intention. And as the skill unfolds with patience, you will naturally begin developing more advanced communication skills, such as telepathy and even clairvoyance. Allow the beautiful dolphin to show you the way. Well, everybody, it's that time of the hour again. We're out of time. Thank you for hanging out with me this evening, and I hope you tune in next week. Again, this is Getting Familiar, and I am Lady Stars and Fire. From now until then, take good care of you and use you wisely, darlings. Hugs and kisses in the wind. Bless be.